Hey guys, I'm Ryan. Welcome to the channel. This is
Baran.
Azra, and we are going to show you how we do our pasta with meat sauce today. This is an awesome recipe. It's multi-purpose. I've made it on weeknights for a quick family dinner, and my wife and I have also done this, in a little bit more of an elaborate or intimate setting when we were hosting a dinner party on the weekend. And it's easy, it's cheap, it tastes amazing. The kids can get involved making it, and it's way better than your run-of-the-mill, off-the-shelf supermarket, bottled spaghetti sauce. It gives you that kind of homemade element. It's light and it's simple, which to me is sort of the whole backbone of Italian cooking. What do you like about this recipe?
I like it because it's one of the most important things of the pasta, and it just puts so much flavor into it, like flavor.
I mean, I can't get this kid to eat anything other than a French fry or a chicken nugget, and when I serve this, he'll eat 3 plates of it. What do you like about this dish, Azra?
I know mango, and I want to make it up and eat. And then I go, and then I go away, and I go home, and I go
All right.
home, and then I go home.
There you have it. I'll add subtitles for you folks out there later who don't speak that language. Anyway, we're going to go get ready. We're going to prep our kitchen and get the ingredients together, and let's get this started. Okay, we are back. We've assembled our ingredients. And this is what you're going to need. As I said, this is very simple. You probably have already a lot of these ingredients in your house. You want a decent quality of extra virgin olive oil. You don't have to go nuts since you're cooking with it and you're not eating it uncooked. You don't have to go nuts getting a real fruity or nutty olive oil, but a good quality olive oil. I definitely don't substitute butter or vegetable oil or something of that nature, but a decent quality olive oil. Onions, yes, there's no garlic in this. I think that the tomatoes I like to use for this are really sweet, and this dish is kind of a very light pasta with tomato sauce, and I feel like garlic just kind of overpowers this sauce. I like the onions a little bit better. They complement the sweetness of the tomatoes better than garlic. I'm going to say, let's call this 5 tablespoons of salt. One tablespoon is going to be for cooking our meat, and 4 tablespoons for the water that we're going to boil our pasta in. Parmesan cheese. This is expensive. This is optional. I think my kids love it. So, if you're going to splurge or you want to make a special evening out of this, I think that this is a nice touch. You want to look for imported Parmesan cheese, especially if it says Grano Padano. This piece right here cost about $10 at my local supermarket. As I said, it's not cheap, but it does add a lot to the dish. You want ground beef? You can do a mixture of beef, pork, and veal. I usually use only ground beef, but what's important is you want to get some beef that has a decent fat content to it. This is 25% fat. It adds a lot of flavor to the sauce, and yes, it's not the healthiest thing in the world, but we're making pasta, so I'm not worried about it. Crushed red pepper, I made this myself. I'll do a video on how to do that. That's optional. I think a little bit in the cooking process goes a long way. It adds flavor without adding too much heat. And then you can put the jar on the table and let your guests add as much as they want when they eat it. Also optional, a glass of dry white wine. Yes, it has to be dry. You don't want to use something like a Riesling or something like that, for example. But it gives a little bit more depth of flavor because, again, there's not a whole lot of ingredients that are going in this. The tomatoes, I've tried a whole bunch of different brands. I've tried the San Marzano. I've tried the imported ones, the artisan ones. I like these tomatoes. I think they have a really great sweetness to them. The juices that they're in the can are very flavorful. The petite diced I feel like if they have nice little chunks and it has a nice mouthfeel when you're eating your pasta. Sometimes I serve this to kids and they don't like to see the chunks of tomato, so I run it through a food processor, and that'll give you that smoother consistency. And of course, pasta. All pasta is not created equal. For me, Barilla and De Cecco are the two best. Spend the extra 75 cents and I think you get a much better texture pasta. It's way too easy to overcook some of those other brands. And another important factor is you want that starchy, salty pasta water, as that's going to be, as you'll see later on, a main ingredient of the sauce. The higher quality pasta you have, that with the higher quality 00 grain flour, is going to yield a lot better final product. So let's get the onions chopped up. Let's get this. Let's run the tomatoes through a food processor, and then we'll get cooking. We'll be back. Okay, we've got all of our prep work done. We've got our salt here. We've got our crushed red peppers, just a pinch. We've got, let's call it a little bit less than half of a medium-sized yellow onion. We did the tomatoes. I went ahead and pureed them. Yes, I know you guys are going to comment on this. You can get pureed tomatoes, you can get strained tomatoes, you can get crushed tomatoes in the can already at the store. Maybe it's me, but I feel like if I get the diced, the petite diced, or the whole tomatoes, and I puree them myself, I don't know. It's a fresher flavor, in my opinion. I don't know. I've tried them all, and I feel like this yields the best result. We've got our wine. One thing about portioning, so you can figure a 1 pound box of pasta is going to feed a family of four people with plus salad and bread. And a 28 ounce can of tomatoes is sufficient for a 1 pound box of pasta. And I'd say up to a pound of ground beef. If you go any over a pound, I think it gets too much like chili. So yeah, I think we've got everything. When you have everything prepped and ready like this before you start cooking, especially with the kids, it's a lot more organized. You don't want to stop in the cooking process and so you forget an ingredient, or you got to go and find something and you're looking for it while something's overcooking. It's a lot easier to do it this way, I think. So what do you think? Should we start cooking?
Yeah.
What do you think? Should we start cooking?
Yep.
Let's do this. Okay, once you've got your beef crumbled and browned, you want to crank that heat up to high as you can get it. And we're going to add in the wine. This is totally optional. I think it adds a nice layer of flavor, but you can skip this step. You can add red wine. If you don't want to add the wine, just don't add anything. You don't have to put water or anything. So we're going to go ahead and add that. And let that alcohol evaporate. Don't stick your head over there and inhale that. That is some gnarly steam right there. But just kind of put your face down and waft it towards your nose, and you can tell when the alcohol is evaporated. You won't get that harsh nostril burning shock of alcohol smell. Go ahead and leave this on high. And see all that liquid? See that? Let all that evaporate. Okay, it's been about 3 minutes or so on high. You see that bubbling away? I can smell there's no more alcohol left in there. Time to add my tomatoes. A little bit of water. Just incorporated. All right, that's looking good. Okay, my heat is still on high. Once I've got all this well blended and mixed and incorporated, I'm going to go ahead and let it come back up to a simmer. And I'm going to turn the heat down to just under medium and let this go. You can really let this go as long as you want, but you want to reduce this by as much as you can. You want to get as much of this liquid out of there so you've got that concentrated sauce flavor in there, and then later on, right before we mix it with our pasta, we're going to reconstitute it with some of that starchy, salty pasta water. So I'm going to let this reduce, and I'll be back. See how much that's cooked down? See how thick that is? That's what you're looking for. All right. This is what I want. That's what we're looking for, almost a paste. And I'm going to let that keep reducing a little bit. Meanwhile, our water started to boil. So what we're going to do is we're going to cook our pasta almost all the way, but not quite. Then we're going to drain it, and then we're going to put it with the sauce and put it back on the heat and let it do the last minute or so of cooking in the sauce. So take the instructions on the package of pasta for al dente, take those number of minutes and subtract 1, and that's when you're going to take it out. So my box says 12 to 13 minutes for al dente. I'm going to take it off the heat at 11 minutes and strain it. I'm going to put it back with the sauce, back onto the heat, constantly stirring it for another minute or two, and then we'll be ready to serve. Okay, my pasta's been boiling for 11 minutes now. Pretty much all the liquid is gone from here. I'm going to add a little bit of water from here, just to kind of loosen things up in there a little bit. That's enough. Now I'm going to drain the pasta. It feels weird. It's hard to get used to this, taking the pasta, stopping the cooking process before it's done, but trust me. The important thing here is just keep stirring it. You don't want to stop stirring it. Don't let it stick to the bottom. This whole meal took about, what do you think? 20 minutes to make? Maybe 20 to 30 minutes to make. It's super easy, it's super homemade, you know exactly what's going into it. You're not buying somebody else's recipe out of a bottle with all kinds of preservatives. There are all kinds of things you can add in the end. You can omit the meat, you can substitute the meat for, you know, clams, mussels, shrimp. You can put cherry peppers in there. You can put, sometimes we put like those whole black olives in there, anything you want. What do you guys think? You got anything to add?
I only eat.
Yep. Does that look good?
I just think it's pretty fancy.
Yeah. You want a piece of cheese?
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it. All right, let's try this. What do you guys think? Oscar, you want some?
Mhm.
Let's see.
Mhm.
Get the cheese.
Mm.
Is that good? What do you think? Yeah, that's pretty good.
Mhm.
Pasta with meat sauce. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.